Hello! Welcome back to episode 5 of Nap Time! Today we have a lot of different topics to get into, so I probably won't be talking about any one thing for a long period of time. I will be about just a bunch of little different topics because I just have so much that I want to talk to you guys about. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I would like to first and foremost say happy Black History Month. It's officially February now, so yay! Give your favorite black people money. This every single time that you see them, just hand them like $5. I actually found recently this amazing woman. I don't remember her name, but I recently found this amazing woman on TikTok, and she's created this website. She's trying to turn it into an app, but she's created this website, and it's called the Black Nile. Now that I know how to do it, I can put like a little photo right here. And what it is it's a resource that we now have where you can go in and find black business owners all over the place, all over the country, for any little thing that you want. So if you want to go to a black salon, or maybe like a black game store or a grocery store or something, so that you can support local and also support local black owned, this is now a resource that we have for that. So I think I should be able to link it down below. In the video, she talks about you have to download the Spaces app by Wix, and then you find her in that. She's Black Nile. Again, I posted a little photo of what it looks like. I'll do it again, so that you know that you get the right one, and then you just get that, and you can like add it to your home screen so it looks like a little app. It's very helpful, very useful, so that you don't have to support big conglomerates if you do not want to. And also, this month we're now into tax season. Taxes are a sham, and I hate having to do them very much, but in case you guys aren't aware, you can always use freetaxusa.com to do your taxes for free. Your federal, I think you have to pay. For state, it's not that much though. It's like anywhere from like $8 to $16. I can't remember which one. So that's a really good resource also to have, that I just wanted to put out there for all the people. I also just want to remind everyone that I'm not sponsored in anything ever. So all the little things that I tell you guys about, the games, the movies, whatever, the websites, I'm not sponsored by anyone. No one asks me to do this. I haven't talked to anyone. I'm not big enough for that. If I see things and I use things and I do things and I think they are good and I want to spread the word on them, I'm going to spread the word on them. It would be great if I got money from it, but like at the end of the day, I just want to like help people. So that leads me into what I want to talk about. Do you guys know? So Groundhog Day exists, obviously, and it's existed for a very long time. But do you know that there's a rival groundhog who is more accurate in his readings? So there's the main one, Phil. I don't know how to pronounce the beginning part. I'm very apologetic about that. But Phil, I think he's only right like 33% of the time with his Groundhog Day predictions. But then his rival is 75% accurate with his Groundhog Day predictions. So I'm letting you know right now that Phil said that there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter, and his rival said that there were not going to be 6 more weeks of winter. So we'll see who's correct here. I also wanted to give out just like another resource, because there's just been like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of detrimental things happening, obviously, especially in America right now. And so I just want to give out as many free resources that are out there. If you are unemployed, or you have a job but you're miserable and you want a new job and you want someone to look at your resume, or you want maybe like another resource to look at for jobs, or just get help, maybe someone to help you fax stuff, whatever, register with your state's local workforce. You just have to look up, your state local workforce, It's free to register, it's free to use their stuff, and they will help you. Their whole job is to help you get a job. It's to help you not be unemployed anymore or to be happy with what you have going on. They have resources where they will look at your resume and help you beef up your resume for free. They will help you do better at interviews for free. I know that there are a lot of people out there that like to charge for that service, that are like, oh yeah, send me your resume and I'll look at it and I'll charge you like $15 to tell you what to fix, or they'll fix it themselves. This is a free resource that you can do that is provided to you by your state. It's a different registration for each state, and they have like a main one in each state, and then they also have little offices that are spread around. So there's probably also an office that's local to you that you can like go into if you need to. But so far, I do not work with them, but like I'm registered with them, and every time I've needed help with anything, the people that are in the office are incredibly kind and very helpful. So also, if you're an employer and you are looking for workers, but you find that maybe on other big websites like Indeed or LinkedIn, you're not getting people that are seriously interested in work, you could try posting through Workforce, whatever their local website is called. And typically, because I was talking to the people that work there about this, typically the people that are going through that to get a job are people that genuinely want a new job. They're much more serious about actually coming in and working. So I think you would have probably better odds posting jobs through there. But just another great free resource for people. I like to start off these episodes, as you guys know, talking about the weekend and things that I did, things that I'd like to share with you guys. And I did quite a bit this weekend. It was actually my boyfriend's dad's birthday, so we celebrated that. It was very fun. He is a very sweet man, very funny. So we really enjoyed that. Even though I love playing games, video games, card games, board games, whatever, I actually have never really played poker. I think maybe when I was little, a family member played poker with me, but I've never really actually done it. So they taught me how to play poker, and then I proceeded to kick everyone's ass. I just want that to be known. It wasn't beginner's luck for one or two hands. We played for a while, several different games, and I kicked their ass. I just want that to be out there because I was really proud about it, because they were talking about how they're so good at playing it. Blah, 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 blah. So we also played this game that I actually got a few months ago, and I got it a few months ago so that I could play it with my mom and dad when they were here for Thanksgiving, because we love, again, board games. And it's called The Worst Case Scenario. It's a card game, and it's really fun. It's a really fun, silly game. And I love games that, let you see how well you know someone else. And this is just kind of like a really silly way to do that. It's also really quick, both on the setup, the actual gameplay, and putting it away, because it's just a bunch of cards. So you pull them out, and you start with, I think their cute little thing is you start with whoever has the least survival skills, and then you just go around in a circle, and the person will pull out 5 cards and they read them out loud, and each card is like a different scenario on there. Like, you get shot out of one of those giant cannons that carnivals have, or you're trapped in a ring with a lion, I don't know, you're surrounded by like a hornet. It's just 5 bad scenarios, and then you have 5 tokens, and you have to put them face down next to each scenario in order of bad to worst, how you would feel. And then the other people playing have their tokens, and they're putting them face down on them with how they think you're rating it. So they're trying, there's no way to like bamboozle everyone, because the only way that you get points, if you're the one reading it out, if you're the victim, you get the points that the other people get the most of. So whoever scored the most, you get their points. You both get the points. I think I'm explaining this absolutely terribly. So say if I was the victim and, we read it out, and then my mom and me matched on what I said, and she ended up getting 10 points because she got just like 10 points worth of getting it correct. Knowing me, I get 10 points because I get however much the most person gets, so I match them. So there's that, and there's also like a little wheel, and you spin it, and like it has a cute little extra thing like, oh, whoever matches your number 4 gets an extra 4 bonus points, you know? So it's really cute, a very fun, easy game to do. I'd say it's probably a good PG-13 game to play. Just kind of fun for the family. I think you can only play like 5 people at a time, if I do remember correctly, because there's only so many tokens. Maybe there's more. I'll post a correction if there is. We brought another game to play. It's called Mind the Gap. We didn't end up getting around to it, but it is really fun. So it's called Mind the Gap, and it's trivia for the different generations. So there's Boomer, Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z. And it's really cute. So when you're in one topic, one of the little quadrants, you can only answer questions for that generation, unless it's, you know, a special space where you can answer for whatever. But those don't really happen that often. You know, when you're in each quadrant, and the little icons change based on the generation. So, like, music for Gen Z would be their phone, but music for Boomer would be like a vinyl record or a cassette tape or something like that. So it's really, really adorable, and you're trying to get around. You have to play each generation in order to win, but you start off in your generation if that's possible, given the people. So that's also a really fun game to play. And the people in my family are all ridiculously smart, and we've all accumulated a bunch of random shit as knowledge our whole lives. So it's really fun to play trivia games together about really anything. Like, it doesn't have to be a topic-specific trivia game, because we all just pull random knowledge out of thin air. It's kind of like that episode of The Nanny where she goes on Jeopardy and she somehow wins because she keeps relating her answers back to just random shit that's happened in her life, and she wins based off of these stories, even though it kind of annoys everyone. That's what being in my family is like. We're just like, oh, well, I know that the number 1 predator for moose are orcas, because I remember thinking about how funny it would be if, like, you went diving one time, because, you know, I used to have, like, that friend, and he worked in Alaska, and he was talking about how one time he was in the water diving, and a moose just, like, came up by him, and it, like, scared the shit out of him. And so then I was, like, looking into, like, the hunting patterns of a moose, and then I realized that one of the number 1 predators for the moose is the orca, because of their diving patterns, because they like to dive, like, 7 feet under to munch on the vegetation. That's a true fact, by the way, and a true story. But that's what trivia is like in our household. We don't always go through the stories, but that's how we know the knowledge. It's really fun. It's also really difficult to do those games where you have to know the person and try to get them to answer it, because we're all unfairly close. And we're all really competitive, so there's a lot of like, oh, well, you're cheating because you know each other so well. No, because we all would have gotten each other to this answer, just in different weird ways. So that's just, I love games so much. So those are the games that I'm going to be highlighting for this week's episode, because those are the games that I played this last weekend. I am very sorry that I didn't record an episode of Love Island, the next episode of Love Island, us watching it. So far, his opinion on the Love Island people, I have been taking note on that. So let's see. He loves Leah. He said that if he was in there, Leah would be his number 1 choice, which is also, Leah would be my number 1 choice, and stays that way throughout the show. She's gorgeous. I love her fashion sense. She's so funny. She's so real. I think she's one of the only ones from that season that I follow outside of it. I just absolutely adore Leah so much. He does like Rob, but now he feels a little conflicted because everything happened with Leah. He believes that while Rob was being honest and communicative about it, he was also kind of downplaying how he felt a lot. And that's where, you know, all the miscommunication happened. Obviously, it's, I think, all resolved from last season. It's just fun to kind of see someone else watch it kind of in their own live time when he wasn't exposed to any of the TikToks about it, the edits about it, whatever. He was completely clean of all of that, so I think that's a little fun. And okay, Liv, he hates with a burning passion. He calls her that Aussie bitch and genuinely gets upset anytime she's on the screen. Hakeem, he kind of felt the same way about, but now he feels a little bit better because in the last episode, Hakeem kind of told Liv off and was like, you instigate everything, you're the most negative person here. Now, I also remember really not liking Liv in the beginning when the show first started, but I did like her towards the end because she does kind of grow into her own as like a girl's girl a little bit more. So I'm excited to see him have that transition. Hakeem, I don't like. I did like him in that one moment, but I mean, for the most part, he's just kind of, I don't really like over cocky guys. Confident is great. Confidence is very sexy, but like overconfident on anyone, really, I'm not a fan of it. Kaylor and Aaron, the literal first thing that he said when he came on screen is, that's a gay man that's just doing this to get a visa. And he kind of hasn't wavered in that opinion at all. He hates the way that Aaron treats Kaylor because, hello, and we haven't even gotten to Casa yet. Andrea and Rob just got coupled up, so it's still fairly early on in this season. And he does not like the way that Aaron treats Kaylor. He's not like a super big fan of Kaylor, but he does recognize that she's a nice person. He does not like the amount that she says like. And honestly, I hadn't really noticed it the first time, but she does say it a lot. A couple of others do too, but she's the worst about it. We also wanted to make a drinking game out of every time she starts crying, but we think we might be hospitalized by the end of an episode if we actually did that. Serena and Cordell, he says, are very cute. He says that they're very cute together. We just met Miguel. That was the episode that we just ended on, was we just met Miguel. So, you know, it was like the kissing competition and everything. He liked that they gave each other more. He likes that Serena's like realizing that she's into Cordell and everything. So that's cute. He's really happy that they're back together. He also really enjoys Cordell. He's up there for him as like a favorite. Coy is gone. He did not like him at all throughout the entire show, especially during the higher lower competition when his body count's like 150, saying that his dream girl is gonna have a body count of like 2 or whatever the fuck it was. Did not like him at all. Loves Janae. He thinks she's a very genuine person, and he calls it the Janae effect because every time she's in a couple so far that he's seen, there's just like no drama. They're just like chill and enjoying each other. So like, you know, her and Coy, we didn't really see until there was drama at the end. And Connor, now that Leah is free, immediately just tried to jump up into that. So he calls it the Janae effect because everyone is so chill with her. He did really like Connor until that just happened, because he was literally saying about how he liked them, and he's like, they're just like such like a real couple. They seem really, I don't know, they seem really stable and calm and everything. There's no drama. They're just kind of relaxing over there. I really like them together. And then within 30 seconds, Connor was talking about how, just so you know, I wanna explore Leah now that she's open. I'm gonna go start talking to her. And he was like, well, that ruined that for me. Pretty much. Because, I mean, fresh. The wound was still fresh, and he immediately started to move in on Leah. Ridiculous. Kendall and Hannah, he doesn't really have an opinion on Kendall. He thinks he's a little goofy, but that's pretty much it. He cannot stand Hannah at all. Genuinely gets annoyed every time she's on screen, but she does have funny moments, and that's kind of her only redeeming thing to him. And then we also have Andrea and Nicole. He doesn't really have an opinion on Nicole so far. He doesn't really have an opinion on Nicole, which I think is kind of suited for the fact that she's with Kendall. And Andrea, he does not like at all, which is fair because she's awful. Let's see here. So those are his little. We haven't really met Miguel. You know, he just came in, made out with them, and then the episode pretty much ends. So no opinion on Miguel so far, but that's where we're standing now. I really enjoy dating this man because it is much different than past relationships. I can say that for a fact. And in fact, I wanted to share with you a couple of dating horror stories from my personal life. I have a lot because I've just found the craziest men. I don't know why. And I've had a couple friends point it out to me, and my mom, they're like, why are these type of men so attracted to you? They're just crazy. They're crazy. There's no other way to go about it. They are crazy, and they're a little damaged, and they absolutely fucking adore me, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I've gotten really good at detecting kind of the warning signs of the men that I do not like and the personalities that I do not like. So a couple of key phrases that they say in the beginning that I'm like, whoop, and I pick up on that, and I pretty much just... There's this one guy back in Colorado that I dated for not a long period of time at all. I had, actually very similar to this, just lost my job when we had met, around the time that we had met, so I had a lot of free time to hang out with him. I wanted to wait until the third date, not a hangout. I don't do hangouts or link ups or meets or anything. I do dates that are planned and intentional because I'm not 12. So I have a very strict rule that I wait till at least a third date to do anything, which used to just be the norm, and it's not anymore. Very, very confusing for me because that's the norm that I grew up being told, you know, existed in the world. And so he was like a little pushy with that. He didn't try to like force anything. He was just like, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to come up? Come on, come up. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, no, I'm fine. I don't want to do that right now. So he was like a little pushy, but what really started us is when I got my new job. At the time, this was a few years ago, I had gotten a new job, and I had also started mentoring in my town, and he did not like that because I now had less time for him, which I guess in his defense, I was available pretty much 24/7 when we first met because I didn't have anything going on for like 2 weeks of time, which were the 2 weeks that we had just started. And then I was starting to be busy. So I was starting a new job, and I already had a second job that I just did like one day of the week. I also was doing dance classes. And when I lived in this particular area, I also did, it was called like a dance showcase. So that was something that I did. And I also tried to just help out and do like, I also volunteered 1 night a week, 1 to 2 nights a week at just like a local kind of community daycare center thing to help people out. And I was also starting a new job, so I got much less time to hang out with him, and I was very busy. And I let him know beforehand that I was going to be busy and that I had things happening. And I was like, so for like a little bit, we probably won't be able to see each other because I'm going to need to settle in to my new schedule. And he said that he completely understood that. He didn't. So before I started the new job, there were a few things that happened that let me kind of... And then thanks to the new job and the schedule, I was able to get rid of him. So one is going to be, I had to drive a couple hours away to do a drug test because a lot of companies want you to do a drug test with a place that they trust. And I lived in a very remote area, so they just didn't have a drug test facility there that they trusted. So I had to drive a couple hours away to an area that they trusted to do a drug test and like a fitness test to make sure that I was strong enough to lift whatever above my head. So he decided to come with me so that we could have like a fun little like road trip type of thing. And fun fact about me, we drove around so much when I was little that it's real hard for me to stay awake in the car. I've gotten a little bit better at it, but even when I would be driving on my own long periods of time, if it hit an hour, I start getting extremely exhausted. Like, cannot fight to keep my eyes awake, no matter how many energy drinks I consume or whatever. So it is much better now. I've now done enough road trips and I know how to keep myself awake and, you know, occupied and all of those things. But at this time, it wasn't. I drove us down there in my car. I drove us down there, and then we did the test. A lot of things happened, so some things couldn't happen. It was a whole thing. But we did that. We got a really filling lunch. Really good lunch, too. But we got a really filling lunch. So then I got tired. And I was like, can we just chill for a little bit? And he had a dog. And he was like, no, I have to get back to the dog. And I was like, okay, let's, you know, try this. And then I was too tired to drive, so he offered to drive. And I don't love someone else driving my vehicle. But, I mean, at that point, we didn't really have anything else that we could do. So he was speeding in my car. I don't like that. If you're gonna be in my car, you better drive completely within the law the whole time. So he's speeding, and I was passed out in the passenger side, but he was speeding. I could feel him like grinding on the brakes because he would like speed up to someone's tail, right up to their bumper, and like honk at them, and then, you know, go around and have to like slow down. And he was very sporadically driving in the mountains, and I did not appreciate that, especially because it's in my car. You're honking, you're causing road rage, people are honking back at you, flipping you off. He's like cussing them out in my car. That's my license plate that you're attaching that to. Hello. Like, that's, you know, there's a lot of information that you can find from someone off their license plate. I'm a very cautious person, so I did not like that. I just didn't like him treating my car like that either, you know, because the way that he was speeding, you could hear it putting, like, it was hurting the engine, how quickly he was trying to accelerate. So that was the first thing, and it was also a really big thing, because I think if someone doesn't respect your things, they don't respect you. And I think it shows a lot about how they're going to treat you. So that was already a big thing, and I started pulling back a little bit. And then during this trip, I'd mentioned that I love trivia. I do love trivia. I love trivia nights. I love going to trivia nights at breweries. I don't drink beer, but I love them so much. I've been doing it since before I was even legal to drink. I just happened to know the owners of a brewery in one of the towns that I lived in at the time, and so they let me come in just for trivia nights. I would get some food, I'd come in, I'd make friends, and I would play the trivia nights, and then I would leave. Nothing hanky happened here. So he made fun of that, but then offered, he was trying to be a stand-up comedian. He wasn't funny, but he had offered one of the nights that they were doing stand-up comedy, they were also going to be doing trivia afterwards in the same little bar, which means that the people that were there were either there for the stand-up comedy or the trivia or both. So he goes on to stage, and it was already a little embarrassing because the people that announced him got his name wrong, and he had been doing this for months, supposedly, like at least 8. So it was just a little silly that they didn't even know his name. And he goes up there, he completely bombs his set. He bitches about me, actually, for a decent portion of it, which, since we had only just started dating a couple of weeks at that point, kind of a red flag. And one of the things that he mentions is, like, who even wants to go to a trivia night? What, you're telling me that you want to take a test for fun? Which got no laughter, because he was saying that in a bar full of people that were there for trivia. So he didn't really get any laughs for anything. I tried to give him at least a pity laugh, but it was hard to even force that out since most of it was at my expense. And they were laughing for other people because other people were funny. So it wasn't like a ridiculously hard audience or anything like that. Bro just bombed. So then he comes back and he's obviously like a little irked or whatever. We then do trivia. and he doesn't know anything, and he's getting frustrated at me because he doesn't know anything, and now he's feeling emasculated, and I'm like, I mean, that's not my fault. I don't know why you're getting mad at me for this. You offered to do trivia. We were also supposed to be in a group of people, but his friends bailed out at the last second, and he told me about it so last minute that I couldn't get my friends to come do it. It was just the two of us at the bar top, very busy bar, full of people, and it's also really small, so you're all kind of cramped in there. Then there's like there was a sports section of trivia, and he's a big sports guy, and he didn't get a single fucking question correct. One of them was, what's the name of the Colorado hockey team? That's the easiest question that you could ask. A Coloradan, which he was. He had an Avalanche jersey hanging up in his room. It was like his prized possession, and he couldn't remember their name. I could, don't worry. But that was still embarrassing, just to set the tone for you. So that happens, and I'm like, whoa. So we're talking about something, and, you know, he's just talking about how, like, oh, well, I'm glad that you seem to also, like, really be into sports. And I was like, well, you know, yeah, I know some about him. I'm not really into, like, Colorado sports, though, because I don't really like Colorado. And he's like, what do you mean you don't really like Colorado? Which is something that I make pretty well known when people talk to me. So I don't know how he hadn't already known it yet, but he was like, what do you mean you don't like Colorado? And I was like, just, like, not for me. I do not enjoy living here. And he was like, what do you mean? It's the best state ever. And I was like, okay. It's just not, I'm not of the personality type that fits in Colorado. And so he, you know, began grilling me on this. And so I was giving off the reasons, which are perfectly valid reasons. I'm not saying that it's an awful state to live in. I'm saying for me and the things that I enjoy and the type of people I want to be around, it's not my state. I haven't found that state yet, but I'm looking, but it wasn't my state. Primarily, I don't ski or snowboard or like snow or drink beer. These are big things. If you ask someone what they first associate a Coloradian with, I'm none of those things. Literally none of them. So one of the things that I also mentioned was that when people describe Colorado to me, they describe a lot of trees and the tallest mountains in the country for some reason. They make them seem like they're just like the biggest things ever. And so I was like, you know, and so it just kind of feels a little disappointing being here because we don't even have a lot of trees because so much is being torn down to be built on. It's technically a desert. That's a legitimate fact. It's technically a desert. And the mountains here aren't the tallest. They also aren't the oldest, you know? They're perfectly mid. So I would love to live in a place with more nature. I would love to live in a place where my house is surrounded by trees all the way around. Evergreen trees. I would love that. And I want really tall mountains, really beautiful mountains. There is a highway that you drive when you're going from, like, when you're going from the Fort Collins area to Evergreen, and there's a part of this highway that when you're driving that drive, you come in and there's like a mountain in your way. There's a bunch of stuff in your way, and then you come in and you come out and the mountain just open to you and the sun always is hitting them so beautifully. And that's a gorgeous scene, and I wish all of Colorado looked like that. Evergreen is, I think, one of my favorite towns in Colorado. It's so beautiful there. And so then he started arguing with me that they do have a lot of trees and that they do have the tallest mountains. And I was like, well, I want more trees, because like even here where we are, there's not a lot of trees unless you purposely drive to get into it. You know, I want a town that's more built around nature instead of building nature around them. That's what I would like. I was like, and we don't have the tallest mountains. And so then he's getting all huffy and he's like, well, they must have like measured it during spring or something. What? And he doubled down and told me that they change height depending on season. And I said, you mean like snow makes it seem taller in other seasons? And he said, no. the actual mountain itself was changing height, and it looked different on pictures depending on what season you took the picture in. And I said, no. At least not significantly enough to make it the tallest or shortest mountain in the country season to season. They don't move like that. They don't wear high heels in summer and flats in spring. That's not what mountains do. They're pretty steady, actually. As a whole, they have exceptions, but primarily they are rock solid. So anyways, he's arguing with me about that. So I start pulling out maps, like topographical maps. I'm pulling out actual research showing that it's not the tallest mountain. None of the mountains in Colorado are the tallest mountain in the country. They're not the oldest, none of that. And I'm like, look, I want like a mountain like this. Like, isn't this beautiful? I would love to be able to see this all the time, just from my window. And he's arguing with me about that. I'm like, I've obviously struck a nerve. Obviously, the state is so beloved to this man that he cannot fathom the opinion that someone else doesn't like it. I'm not even saying that he's stupid for liking it or that everyone that lives here is a cotton-headed ninny-muggins or something. I was just saying I do not like living here and I want to live somewhere else. So then I'm like, okay, I need to go to the bathroom. Please watch my stuff for me. I had a drink, I had my purse. I left it there because, again, it was a packed bar, so I wanted to make sure my seat was saved. And I was like, please watch my stuff. And he was like, yeah, okay. I go to the bathroom, and it's in this kind of concrete hallway, so it was kind of echoey in there. And I hear his voice after just a couple of minutes. I'm still in there doing my thing. I hear his voice from the hallway outside talking to someone, laughing with them. And I was like, what is this fucking guy doing? Did he just give up our seats? He couldn't wait like 3 minutes for me to go to the bathroom, take a breath, and come back? So I hurry and finish what I'm doing, and I come out, and he's just like standing there, and he's like, oh, hey. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I also had to go to the bathroom. And I was like, and you couldn't wait for me to come back? And he was like, well, why? And I was like, where's my purse? Where's my drink? And he was like, well, they're over there. And I was like, so someone could be stealing my shit right now or roofing me, and you just didn't think of that as like an issue? And he was like, oh, well, I just like didn't think of it. And I was like, so I go back to make sure that my stuff is okay, and I tell the bartender what happened. I'm like, would it be okay if I got a new drink? And he's like, yeah, that's totally fine. I'll just like make you a new drink, because he's a super chill guy. I've never met him before, and I've never talked to him since. I'm just, from this experience, he's a super chill guy. And so the guy comes back and he's like, I'm sorry, like I didn't think about it like that. And I said, well, I specifically asked you to wait here and watch my stuff while I went to the bathroom. And he was like, well, I didn't know why you asked me to do that. And in my head, I'm like, it shouldn't matter. You should just do it because I asked you to do it. And you agreed before I left. If he hadn't have agreed, I would have taken my shit with me. I trusted that he wasn't going to steal my stuff or roofie me. I trusted him enough to do that. He's stupid. He's not malicious. So, yeah. After that, I really started pulling back from him, but I had already invited him to a Halloween party, and I didn't know anyone else that was going to be there, and at that time, I tended to be a very impulsive person, so I was like, okay, let's give him a little bit more time. So, then we get ready for Halloween, and I go to his place to pick him up. I pick him up, I look very good. I go to this place. One of my really good friends actually ends up being there, and I'm like, oh, fantastic. And I haven't seen this person in forever, so I was very excited to catch up with them. And I was wearing kind of a real revealing outfit. I was being Shigo from Kim Possible, but without the pants part, because the outfit didn't come with the pants part, and I kind of forgot that it was required. Anyways, so Shigo from Kim Possible, sans pants. We go up to the roof at one point where this party is happening. We're like looking out, but also it's Colorado, end of October, very cold. So I can't last that long. And he has my phone on him because I have no pockets, I have no pants. So I was like, hey, I want to go back inside. It's really warm. And he was like, okay, go back inside. I'm having fun up here with these random people that I've just met. And I was like, cool. You enjoy that. So I go back inside because I was cold. didn't think this would be an issue because didn't seem like this was an issue. So I go back inside and I run into my friend that I haven't seen in a while. I already knew that he was there, but like we run into each other again, and they're like, "Hey, let's go into one of these rooms." It's a movie theater that was closed, so lots of people could fit in here. We weren't breaking and entering. We had permission to be there. So we go into one of the theater rooms. So it's a big ass room. There's not like beds or anything in there. It's just a big ass movie theater room. We go in there and we're just like talking and catching up. Granted, it was for a while, but they had a lot of stuff that they wanted to unload. And I also had stuff that I wanted to unload about this guy because I was like, I have no one to talk to about this. Would you be able to like give me some advice? And so, you know, we talked for a while. People cycled in and out of the room. We're talking to them, whatever. And so after, I want to say it was like 20 to 30 minutes. Again, I know it was a while. It just ended up happening. And I thought he was doing his own thing. This was a party full of games and activities and drinks and things to do. I didn't really think it would be an issue because the people that I've dated in the past would have just found something to do, you know? I come back out. You know, me and my friend we've caught up. We've vented about our things. We go back out. And they go off to find someone that they're interested in seeing. So they go off to find them. And this chick that I've never met before walks up to me and she said, "Hey, Shigo from Kim Possible, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Okay, your boyfriend gave me your phone to give to you if I found you." And I said, "What? Why does this man not fucking value or respect my personal belongings? Why is he just so seemingly dead set on letting people steal my shit?" So I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I get my phone and it's full of text messages from him. The man that had my phone, full of text messages from him. So it's like, "Hey, where are you? Where are you? Like, I came back inside. I want to hang out with you. Like, what's going on?" A couple missed calls. And then, "Oh, that's right, I have your phone. Okay, I'm going out to the car. Okay, I'm going to leave your phone inside and I'm going to go out to the car." Which, why would you do that? You're at a party full of fucking people and you're just going to go sit in the car alone? For what reason? To be dramatic? To be a little bitch and mope? Ugh! I broke up with him very soon after this, don't worry. So I like call him and I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't think our conversation would go that long. I also didn't realize that you couldn't just like socialize with the people that were here or find a game to play or something. Like, there were a lot of games that when we walked in, he was excited to play the games. There's one room where they had hooked up like a PlayStation and they were all playing like Smash Bros and stuff on it. So I was like, you know, I thought there was stuff for you to do. I didn't realize you'd leave. So he comes back in and he's all sad. And so I'm like, "Okay, do you need to talk or something?" And he's like, "Sure." So we go just like to a little hallway to talk, and we're talking. And he's like, someone said that they walked into a movie theater room and there were 2 people in there doing it and I couldn't find you. And so I was just really sad that you would cheat on me. First of all, a lot of things are wrong with the sentence he just said. One, some person, not even talking to him, just mentioned that they walked into a theater room, of which there's 7, and saw 2 people, nondescript people, having sex. So he just assumed that they were talking about me because he couldn't see where I was. And then said that I was cheating on him. I only been with this guy for a couple of weeks. He wasn't my boyfriend. And I know he wasn't my boyfriend because just a few days earlier, I had asked what he was looking for on the dating apps and what we were. And he said he was just looking for a good friend. And he got lucky with me because I'm also hot. This is now a conversation that I have earlier on. But, so it wouldn't have been cheating if I was doing something. It would have been fucked up because I came to the party with him. And I wouldn't have done that either way. But I just want that to be clear right now. So I was like, okay, well, that wasn't me. There were people cycling in and out of the theater room that we were in. We were just talking like 6 feet apart from each other. Like, I was sitting on the floor. He was sitting up in the chairs. You know, nothing was happening. We, I think, hugged afterwards because they just needed a hug. And he was like, "Oh, thank God." oh my god, I was so scared about the concept that you could have cheated on me. And I was like, okay, that's also something that we should address, because we're not monogamous, we are not in a committed relationship, so it wouldn't have been cheating on you. Just so we're clear. And he was like, well, what do you mean? And I reiterated to him that just a few days prior, I asked what he was looking for and what we were, and he said that he was just looking for a good friend and got lucky with me because I'm hot. And I said, so we're friends with benefits or casually dating from what you made it sound like. And he said, well, maybe we should talk about being something a little bit more serious. And at this point, I already knew that I wanted to break up with him. So I was like, maybe we should just wait to have that conversation. So then we decide to leave because he's now ruined my fucking mood. And my friend is leaving. And also my friend is gay. So we decide to leave, and I let him know, like, also this friend is gay. If that brings you any comfort at all, nothing would have ever happened there because I do not have the proper equipment at all. And so that helped him a lot, assuaged a lot of emotions. And I've also mentioned this before, if you don't trust the person you're with, you shouldn't be with them. And if you have past trust issues, it is not on them to do that. It is on you to fix that before you get into a relationship. It'll make sense if you still have like some lingering stuff, but you shouldn't project that onto them because it's not their fault. They didn't do anything to you. If they didn't give you any reason to not trust you, then you shouldn't just be putting that on them. So we're leaving. We're in his car to go back to his apartments. My car is left there. And I get a text from him that says something along the lines of, coast is clear, he's gay. And I looked at him and I said, don't think you meant to send that to me. And he was like, oh my god, no, I didn't mean to send that to you. I meant to send that to his roommate at the time. I called her crying about it and like talking to her about it. I was like, okay, cool, so now she hates me because, hello? I didn't say that out loud, and I was like, okay, well. And then we got back to his place, and I'm walking to the car, and he again tries to push me into coming upstairs. I'm like, I do not want to. He's like, come on, just for like 5 minutes. You haven't been upstairs in like so long. Like, let's do something. And I was like, no, I'm not coming up. You need to stop asking. Because he asked like 6 or 7 times, and I was saying no. I'm not a beat around the bush type of person. I'm a very blunt, direct person when it needs to be, you know? I'm not gonna say anything to hurt your feelings unless you deserve it, but I'm not also gonna like lead you astray with anything. So, you know, I finally leave. There are unfortunately a couple of my things that got left there. And then a few days later, he keeps trying to see me, and I'm like, I told you that I was gonna be really busy because I had just started my new job. This was like day 2 or maybe 3 of the new job, which also started when I started mentoring. So I was now busy mentoring, volunteering, main job, side job, dance class, and I think I was about to do auditions for Dance Showcase. Complete book. And I had told him that, and he had said that he was okay with that, but I guess he wasn't. And so I was like, look, honestly, I think maybe you need someone to devote a little bit more time to you than I'm able to do at this moment. So I think we should just call it off. And he said, yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I think that we should break up if that's something you're okay with. These messages were sent several minutes apart, so it wasn't like we had accidentally sent it at the same time or something. He just, I guess, wanted to feel like he broke up with me. I don't know. So that guy was a fucking nightmare, right? I also had a guy, I'll try to keep this one short, but I had a guy when I had first moved to the area that I'm currently in, and he invited me out to tea, which is interesting because I don't like tea, but he didn't ask me, so he wouldn't have known that. So I go to tea, and he tells me that he doesn't know if he's going to be able to afford it, so I'm like, okay, a great thing to tell me after I get here. So I try to pay for it myself. He doesn't let me. He pays for it with, I think, a plasma card. Like, he was donating plasma and getting money for that, so that was fun. And he spent pretty much the entire day talking about himself, how he's a king without a kingdom. That's a red flag. And talking about his ex-girlfriend and how she really screwed him over, and so he's looking for the next woman to not be anything like that. And he also used the term female a lot. I don't know why men have turned just the normal word female into such a derogatory slang, but they have. So that also got my ears to be a perkin. Then we spent a while in the car just like talking because he didn't want the date to end, and I'm not great at saying no. Like, I can be direct if you annoy me enough, but like if I feel like I'm being too harsh and I'm not solid in the decision, I'll just kind of go along with it until you give me a reason to be like, okay, no, this is a definitive, get the fuck out of my face. So we talked for a while, and it was just him complaining and also trying to boast and talk himself up. He just was really weird and egotistical. So then I leave the date. He did try to kiss me, and so then we leave the date, and I'm driving back to my place. And I wake up the next morning, and he has posted, I believe, 30 minutes of a Snapchat story, a public Snapchat story, talking about our date. And how he's sitting there, and he's looking at this girl that wants to give him the world, but because females have fucked him over in the past, he just doesn't know if he can open himself up enough to be with her. Hello? I did not say that I wanted to give you the world. I don't even know you. You took me to tea on the first date, and I don't drink tea. That's crazy work. Yeah, so he apparently like really liked me, because then when I tried to break up with him, he said no, which has happened to me multiple times, which is weird. So he just kind of like didn't accept that I wanted to break up with him. And then like he legitimately like kept texting me, kept calling me, didn't accept that I did not want to see him further. And I was telling him directly, I do not want to see you further. I don't think this is gonna work out. He kept texting me, kept calling me, all of this fun stuff. And then I'm on the phone with my mother, and she's like, you gotta pull out the big guns here. Tell him you have an OF. And I said, great idea. Guys like this hate when women have something like that. So I tell him that I have an OF, and he says, well, I'll help you film it. You know, we might have to restrict some of the things that you wear or don't. But I'll help you film it. I'll get ideas for it. That could be like a fun little date that we do, which is actually kind of a good answer. And I was like, damn. So she was like, all right, we have to go DEFCON, what is it, 1? Is 5 the bad one, or is 1 the bad one? Anyways, we have to go red alert on this. Tell him that you're pregnant with another man's baby. I love my mother. She's a crazy woman. She's so feisty. So I tell him that I'm pregnant with my ex's baby, and my ex is a Navy guy. And he's like, that's okay, I'll raise the baby as my own. We've had one date, and it wasn't good. And I just want to remind you guys of that. And I'm like, no, he's gonna come back into my life, and we're gonna raise this child together. He has a good job and everything. We only broke up because he was moving, so we're gonna move in together. That's the only issue that we had, so it was a good relationship. He's gonna raise the baby with me. I'll move with you. I'll come with you, and we'll all live together. That way the baby can have 2 strong father figures, or at least one, because I don't know this guy. What if he's not a strong father figure? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you actually on about at this fucking moment? How are you so fucking delusional that I'm telling you all of this, and you're still going on with the going on? So we just kind of keep going, and then I just am like, I don't want to see you. And if you talk to me again, my Navy baby daddy is gonna beat your ass. Obviously that man doesn't exist. Well, he was based on an actual guy that I used to see, but so he's like, okay. And then just started texting me like really weird random things. Like one day he just sent me a photo of, what's her name, like the torch lady or whatever from like Paramount Pictures, you know, when a movie is starting to play. He just sent me a photo of that, and I said, what is that? And he said, it's not that serious. Just asking why you would send me that. Whatever. And then one was just a black photo, and I said nothing, because I didn't want to respond to him. And he said, are you ignoring me now? And I didn't respond to him. And then he texted me for a while, and then just stopped. Eventually, On a much more chilled out note, have you guys discovered Dr. Waffle recently? The TikTok page? It's amazing. I believe maybe it's him and his wife, I think, because sometimes there's a woman singing. They have these beautiful songs that feel like they should be storybooks with little figurines that they have of like penguins and hippos and snakes and stuff. The mistakes, they're snakes that always make mistakes. Very cute stuff. Their most popular one, which has blown up recently, is the axolotl. There's an axolotl on the pink stair. Is an axolotl supposed to be there? That song. If you haven't heard it, please look up the axolotl song by Dr. Waffle and watch the little thing that they're doing with that little axolotl, because it is adorable. It's an adorable song, and all the songs they have is adorable. And also that song is stuck in my head on just like a loop, and I'm not super mad about it actually, because it's such a cute song. They also have one with a hippo. He's a rapper. He's pretty cool, and I just really enjoy them as a whole. So if you're looking for maybe something wholesome to look at right now, or like a new song to show your kids, go look at Dr. Waffle's page. Adorable songs, all I think made for kids. I'm not sure. The page is full of adults that are like, did you just gentle parent me? And it's very funny. The last fun thing that I want to tell you guys that I got to do this weekend is I really love that company that's like the Mini Brands company. I know there's a lot of them, but there's one specifically that's called Mini Brands. I love them so much. My mom got me into them. I have a little miniature bookcase, and it's got little mini books on it, and they all have like actual writing. Like there's a Mad Lib, and there's actual Mad Libs that you can fill out inside, and it's like this big. And it's very cute, so I love doing them. I've always wanted a Harry Potter one, because she told me that they exist and they're like potions and stuff. That's so cool. I would love to be able to do that. So we found one in the clearance aisle of our grocery store over the weekend, and it was a food court. So we got to come home and we got to build it. And I got this very cute photo of Mittens looking at boyfriend as he builds it. I think she's so in love with him, she might think that they're dating and I'm the other woman, if we're being completely honest. But she was helping him. And then I guess he wasn't paying enough attention to her because, well, she just started swatting at him, but like in a really cute, playful way. And now we have a little food court sitting in our apartment for some silly ass reason. And I know that there are probably a lot of people in the world that will tell you that you should stick to doing adult things only, things that are meant for adults only, and that you shouldn't do something if it's meant for children. And I just want to remind you that you can do whatever the fuck you want. As long as it is not hurting anyone, do whatever the fuck you want, dude. Just do things that make yourself happy. My whole apartment is decorated after my cat's pink nose. It's decorated to match my cat. I have Star Wars things and Lord of the Rings things, Egyptian things, dinosaurs, all of it. There's tarot stuff on the walls. It is all just stuff that I love. I have, I want to say they're called Dragon Ball Z, I have Dragon Ball Z toys all over my fridge because my boyfriend has just a little collection and they're magnetic. So we just stuck them up all over the fridge. They're all shot out. They're very cute because why does it matter? Just do things that make you happy. Make sure that you're drinking water. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself in every single way possible, and you're being nice to your body, to your soul, to your mind, and to the people that are around you if they deserve it. If you're able to, I am going to challenge you to go out and try to make one person's life a little bit better every day for the next week until you see me again. It's homework, and I think you could do it. It's really not hard. It doesn't always cost money. It's also really rewarding to just be able to know that you're helping someone out or making their life a little bit better. One that I used to like to do that was really cheap is when I would go to the store, if I was doing a checkout with a person, I would look at the little section of candy that's right there, the checkout aisle, and I'd say, I don't know which candy I like. Which one's your favorite? And they'd tell me, and I'd buy it, and I wouldn't tell them what I was doing until it was bought and I was checking out. I'd grab all my bags, I'd pull it out, and I'd say, here you go. So that they had their favorite candy, and they don't feel guilty about it, because I'm about to skedaddle, so there's not that awkward silence, you know, of, like, if I were to tell them when I was doing it, and then we're just sitting there, and they have to do that fake thing where they're like, oh no, you don't have to buy that for me. No, I just say, here you go, you're doing a great job, you know? That only costs like 50 cents to like $3, depending on what their favorite candy is and where you live. And it makes someone's life a little bit better, makes it a little bit happier. Compliment someone that you see walking by, a genuine compliment that you mean. Don't just compliment to compliment, but a genuine compliment that you mean. That's your homework for the next week, and I want you to report back in the comments what you did to make someone's life a little bit better, even if that someone is just yourself. Be kind to yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I am very excited for next week's episode because it's Valentine's Day. So it's going to be a very love-filled episode and probably also very pink. But I'm very grateful to have you guys all here. Very grateful to be able to do this, and I hope to see you next week. If you haven't yet, please subscribe down below. Share this video with friends if you think that they'll enjoy it, or like put it on your Instagram story or something. I don't know. I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for having nap time with me.